Yo, what's up, everyone? I'm coming to you live on a Thursday, which I don't normally do. Tom, is it Thursday?
It is Thursday.
It's Thursday. Oh, this is going to be so fun. I can't wait. We're going to talk about learning songs by ear, show you some strategies here. Now, there's always YouTube videos, but, you know, they're not always right. That's the thing. And then I'm like, well, how do you know that I'm going to be right? Well, I'm going to show you how to figure out songs by ear here. I've done this in the past, but I'm going to show you some, like how to know when there's a capo on a song. This also tell you if the people that are showing you the songs, if they're right, because there's plenty of versions of some of these songs. Some of the songs on here, there are no versions of on YouTube, and some there are versions that are incorrect. So I have a 4th of July sale that's up in 1 hour. In 1 day, 7 hours and 21 minutes and 10 seconds. That 4th of July is my 4th of July guitar bundle, which I offered last year, which is my Quick Lessons Pro, which is like more of an intermediate guitar course that has, if any of you that know my Quick Lessons where I say like that at the end of it, it's that course, 5 hours, where I break down my most popular quick lessons, 5-hour video course with PDFs and stuff like that and guitar profiles. My ear training program, we're going to be doing ear training here. That has 80 lesson videos, 27-page booklet, and hundreds of interactive training modules that'll help you develop your ear. My Beato Book Interactive, which is my music theory course. It's the 500-page PDF that has hundreds of audio examples and dozens of video lectures. A lot of video lectures in it. And then, of course, my Arpeggio Masterclass, which teaches you strategies for learning arpeggios all over the neck for all different types of chords. Major chords, minor chords, diminished chords, augmented chords, major 7, minor 7, dominant 7th, major, minor 7 flat 5, anything you can think of. Spread triad, stuff like that. All of that for $79, which is ridiculously cheap if I do say so myself. Anyways, that's my ad read. I don't do sponsored ads on my channel. Never have. Probably never will. And I definitely don't plan on that. No, I won't do that. Don't worry. Tom is actually here. Tom, say hello.
Hello.
Tom's here to, he's kind of moderating, I guess. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about how to learn songs by ear. One of the things I want to talk about, I have my acoustic guitar, and I'm going to show you kind of how I figured out some tricky songs in the past. And these are strategies I learned, honestly, back when I was a kid, because some of these songs I learned way, way back when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, when I first started learning guitar, and there were no tutorials or anything, so you had to learn these things by ear. And it was really painstaking. The first song I'm gonna play is Simon and Garfunkel. Check this out. Now, when you hear that, you got to listen because those are high notes in there. Listen. Bum. I hear those notes and I hear that note there, right? Listen again. Listen. You hear it? Just by hearing those two notes in that first chord, because they sound like open strings to me because of the tone of it. So I hear that note there in the chord. So right there I know, well, it's probably a high probability that it's a 7th fret capo. So I'm going to put the capo on. This is what you call a G7 capo. I like this capo. It's like just clamps on nice and easy. Like that. Okay, so this is a picking pattern. So there are chord shapes involved with this. Okay, so listen. Okay, now, this first chord is this. And why can I tell this? Because I can recognize that chord down here. If I take this off, I can recognize. I can tell it's that chord shape because that's part of my recognized chord vocabulary, right? So I always talk about this, that you want to develop. My ear training course helps you develop a vocabulary of recognized sounds. So I recognize that chord shape sound. And now I know that it's played up here in position with the 7th fret capo. So the picking pattern, listen to it again. And I hear, so I can hear that chord because that's a common chord that you play when you move a C up and you play a D. That's in like a million songs. There's a song, Man on the Moon by REM uses that chord shape. There's so many songs use that chord shape. And then here, and I can hear those two open strings, the open B and G strings there. They have a tone to them. Open strings are brighter in tone. Listen. So, listen. And then that's just, and then, so here's the whole intro. Listen to that A sus2 chord there.
You got a B-mill asking, what's the maximum entry age for this? Asking for an older friend, winky face.
What's the maximum entry age for what?
I believe your ear training.
Oh, you like, maximum entry age? What does that mean?
I guess as long as you're still alive.
If you're living, that's the maximum age. If you can move your fingers, no, you don't even need to move your fingers. If you can click a mouse, I do not have perfect pitch. Tony said Rick most likely has perfect pitch. I actually don't have perfect pitch. And if I did have perfect pitch, I'm 63, I probably would have lost it already. Because my pitch memory went down by a half step about 10 years ago. So even people with perfect pitch eventually lose their perfect pitch. That's why you need to learn relative pitch, which is what my ear training course teaches. So even people like my son Dylan will lose his perfect pitch eventually. He might not, it depends, because they don't know if it's from ear damage, from nerve damage to the ear, just losing your top end of your hearing and you can't hear the harmonics and things like that. But everybody that I've ever interviewed, except for Keith Jarrett, that has perfect pitch, has lost it once they hit about 60 or so. So that whole intro. Now, once you have the open strings and once you know where the capo is, it makes it way easier to learn. Then I start looking for recognizable chords. So the verse starts out, same two chords. Then you go, or it's just a G chord with a little sus in there, right? Back to those two chords. Then you hear that C chord. Your A minor there, and then just C, D. Then it starts getting into regular open chords, but it keeps going back to that little vamp between these two chords. So. So that's the Scarborough Fair. Once once I figured out where the capo was, learning it was really easy. I actually, when I learned it, back in the 70s when I learned it, I actually flat picked it. You don't really need to finger pick it. I mean, yeah, Paul Simon's definitely finger picking, but doesn't quite sound right. But then the rest of it you actually need to finger pick. So that's Scarborough Fair. So finding where the capo is. Another song that uses a capo is this song. Now, what's the first thing I hear when I hear this? I hear this chord. I can tell it's that chord shape, that D chord shape moved way up here to A. It actually would be an A chord here. Once I hear that, and that's flat picked. Right, that's that chord. And then, and you can hear these pedaling off that low string. Then, listen. So these are all basic chords here. So it's D, then G, and then A7 there. And he adds that note there on the 10th fret. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of tune with it.
Here comes the sun.
Then,
Here comes the sun.
and then then it goes to E there. And then this part here.
I say it's alright.
Like this lick here. You have to listen for things like that. Like I can hear the hammer on there. And he's going. You just, if you listen really close, you can hear those are pull-offs. Listen.
It's alright.
Listen right here. Yeah, definitely doing pull-offs. He's not going, because otherwise you'd hear those attacks on every note. So you really want to develop your ear not only to listen for pitch, but listen for tone, because tone will tell you the articulations. Is it a pull-off? Is it a hammer-on? What is actually happening? And when you hear, if you see something on YouTube with somebody teaching you that, listen and see if, does it sound exactly right? Then go back and listen to the original. Always go back, listen to the original, and just make sure that the person that's teaching you is actually doing it correctly.
We got Andrea Proctor here asking, what order should we do the courses in?
What order should you do the courses? I would actually open up, I would probably start with the ear training course, because that is the skill that is something that you're gonna use for the rest of your life. So I would probably start with the ear training skill, and I would go in the ear training course and just see how you progress, kind of get a gauge for where you are. Then I would go to, then it really depends on where you are, because I would open up each course and determine what the level of, what level of player are you. The Beato Book Interactive is a theory course, okay? That's going to answer the questions of what chords are in a major key, what chords are in a minor key, what is the order of chords, how do you build triads, how do you build seventh chords, what are suspended chords. It has all that stuff. It's a 500-page PDF. I have whiteboard lectures in there. I have all types of stuff in there. And really, these courses are $20 a piece, basically. For $79, it's a ridiculous deal. This July 4th, open up another tab, go to it. If you haven't gotten any of my courses, this is a perfect time to do it. This 4th of July sale's on till, it goes on until tomorrow night at midnight. Okay, so that's Here Comes the Sun. Let's go to the bridge, actually, because the bridge I really love in this song.
Here comes it's alright.
What I love about this, he goes, because he's on A7. Beautiful. It's amazing. You know what's interesting is that these guys invented this stuff. Not just him, but Clapton, all the people that had these songs like Badge, and they invented this vocabulary back then for songs, and then people just use these things over and over. I mean, Bob Dylan was using these kind of things. Folk musicians were using this even before the Beatles came out. But these particular riffs like this were really developed by the Beatles. Wrote so many songs with so many different types of guitar flat picking riffs like this. This is what I would call a flat picking, because this is done with a pick, right? My favorite part of the song, honestly, is the very last part. This. I love this chord that hangs over. Listen.
It's alright.
I heard that. Bum, listen to that. Dun. It creates this really haunting dissonance. Ooh. That's amazing. Perfectly played too by George. Let me do another Beatles song, and this is for capo reasons. And I'll move on to I'll become more modern here with some of these things. Hit like on the stream. If you guys hit like, more people will come on. Hit the like button. Just tap on it. Like. I don't actually. Is that how it works? How does it work, Tom? Tom, hit the like button.
No, I'm liking it.
Tom's liking it. Okay, so here's another song that I figured out, and I didn't know that this had a capo, but listen. Now, I hear that as that D chord. I hear this. That chord shape there with a D sus2 to D, that move is very common, and it's one of these things that should be part of your vocabulary of recognized sounds. But I hear it up here, so it'd be like this. So when I first heard that, I was like, that's a D chord, so that must be a capo at the 2nd fret, which it is. And once you figure it out, it makes a song a lot easier to learn. Listen. You'll notice he plays the A string in that verse. You hear that? Listen. Right? He's hammering. Then. You see, and you can hear those other chord, that chord shape's ringing. And then, once again, that, you should be able to start recognizing those things, because that is a very common chord move there, going to that C add 9 shape to G over B shape there. Listen. That's amazing.
She's shown me her room, isn't it good? Norwegian wood. She asked me to stay and she told me to sit anywhere. So I looked around and I noticed there wasn't a chair.
So there, goes to the parallel minor key there. So we go from D major, it's really E major, to E minor. But once again, just normal open chord shapes. I looked around and I noticed there wasn't a chair. Goes at this E minor 7 shape. It's really F sharp minor 7 to B7. That's the whole song right there. Once again, once you recognize where the capo goes, these songs become much easier to play. Let's talk about some trickier songs to learn. This is a song that took me a while, and I stumbled on playing it. Okay, this is Pearl Jam Garden. This is done on a 12 string. And how can you tell that? Because you took my ear training course. No, you can tell it because you can hear that 12 string, that octave up note. Or at least I can hear it. Anytime I hear a 12 string, it has a very particular sound to it. And the trick about this lick, I don't know, there's no teaching, there's no tutorials on this on YouTube. So one time I was just screwing around and I played this. As soon as I played that, I was like, that's how that garden thing, you can hear that pull off. That's really. And that's hammer on from open G to C there. Listen. That is really tricky. That, to get the coordination of that, I could figure out the notes, but getting getting it to have that particular roll to it, it was very tricky to figure out what the how do I identify if the song is tuned to E or E flat or others? Great question. Because when the bass comes in right here, listen. Ba. Playing an open string there in the bass. And because that song, because it's that's really a Dorian. right? Ba 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 ba. That's an A Dorian scale, and I can hear that. I can hear that A. That's like A minor 6. Really got that melancholy sound. It's interesting. Dorian chord, those minor 6 chords tend to sound that has almost a film noir sound to it. Listen to the beginning and think of like something like a film noir vibe. Dean said Dorian is sad but bright. It is sad but bright. This is interesting, Dean, because I think that I feel Dorian is normally when you hear a Dorian chord, usually it's like depends on the voicing with this particular voicing because it doesn't have that the way that the voicing is there. It just has a real film noir. I don't know. That's the only thing I think of that. I hear that minor 6 sound, and that is that film noir sound. And then the rest of the song is pretty basic. I forgot that. You know what? When I interviewed Mike and Jeff from Pearl Jam, I forgot to mention this song. And I'm not sure who wrote this. I don't know if this is a Stone or a Mike riff, but it didn't enter my mind. I'm going to text Mike actually and ask him about this riff. I don't know if those guys play it together or not. But I wonder if they even play it live.
The direction of the eye, so misleading.
Wes, you're welcome for taking you from your mastering work.
Cautiously quick, I don't question her existence. I just question.
I love this. This is Garden by Pearl Jam off the first Pearl Jam record, 10. Now, one of the tricky things about this in the chorus, it's not really tricky. Here's the chorus.
I will walk with my hands bound. I
So A minor,
with my feet, Lord, I will
but right here, listen.
with my shadow
Right here, listen. The bass.
into your garden.
He goes. He plays the B. Ba, ba. It's tricky because it makes it this. Or. Which is really beautiful. That choice of bass note by Jeff Ament is amazing. It really makes that chorus, that last phrase, even sadder than it is, I think. I think it's beautiful, beautiful part. Okay.
We got Freddie asking, are your courses a subscription, or do I buy the 4 courses and have them forever to refer back to?
Freddie, it's not a subscription. I don't do subscriptions. It's a one-time purchase, and you got them. They're yours. That's you know, I never really had subscriptions. I think for people, they're like, I just want to buy the thing and not think about it. You buy it, you log in, you get your logins for each of the course. It's one login. You go to each course, and that's it. So $79, boom, open up another tab, click on it, you can get it, and then you got it, and keep going back to it for years. let's talk about a song that maybe let's talk about some songs are a little bit tricky. I'll give you an example. Okay, now this song, you got to get your tuning. This song has a weird tuning to it. If you listen, da, I can hear that is. I can hear that string is tuned down, okay? Listen again. And he's going to sus. Da. Now, this particular song has a kind of a weird tuning to it. The D string is tuned down to B. And one way you can tell that I mean, to me, there's a starkness in the sound of the guitar, okay? And when I hear that, right? Those are the chords for the song. Listen to the tuning. Oh, now that is a terrible sounding open tuning. But when you play it, the thing about it is that this D string is tuned to B. So that gives it that beautiful thing. And the high E string is tuned to down a half step to D sharp, or E flat is D sharp. So it gives you a nice B major chord, but you hear that I'm playing like an E7 shape. And then the chorus is it's like 6-5-4 chord progression there. G sharp minor, F sharp with sixth with that with a sus4 in it too. That E major 7 chord. That tune is tricky to learn, right? Those particular chord shapes. You got to listen for things like open strings. You can hear that openness of that high E string. That's something that should be a giveaway, is always listening for open strings. And you want to listen for things like chords that are recognized chords, like on Here Comes the Sun. You can hear that D shape. Everyone should be able to hear. Sorry. You should be able to recognize. Those basic open, what we call cowboy chord shapes. They should immediately, jump out to you after you get your ear training course and you work on this stuff. You should be able to identify those things and be like, I know what chord that is. I know what shape it is. I may not know the name of it, but I know it's this D major chord shape, or it's this G chord shape, or it's a C chord shape, or it's this walk down, C, G over B, A minor chord shape. Even if it's played up way up here, you should be able to recognize that chord form with a capo on it. So those are little tricks to use when you're doing this stuff and developing your ear. And this is how you can tell if something is accurate when you're if you're going to a YouTube video to learn something. You want to know that the person that's teaching you this is playing it correctly. And like for yellow, for example, if they don't start out with the tuning, or something that may have a capo, if they don't start out and say, okay, this one's going to be a capo at the 7th fret, this will be a capo at the 2nd fret, this is a capo at the 5th fret, and immediately tell you what the tuning is. My personal, if I'm going to go to a YouTube video, I don't go to YouTube videos to learn songs, but if I were to do that, and I were to teach songs, what I would do first is do a quick playthrough. Because what you want to do is the playthrough shows the audience that you know how to play the song and that it sounds right. Girl on a Motorbike, Dean, there you go. Oh my God, I don't have a half hour to retune my guitar to the correct tuning. Although I did my own version of it for Adam when we did it. That was great. Anyhow, so I got my course on sale through tomorrow. Hit like on the stream here. $79, that's $20 a course. Basically, it's less than $20 a course. It's $18.25. Is that right? I think it is. I don't know. I'm bad with math. Quick Lessons Pro. Tom's laughing over here. Quick Lessons Pro. Is it Tom?
I'll pull up the
Tom's bad. Tom's bad with spelling. I thought you're all right with math, Tom. 80 divided by 4.
$19.75.
There you go, $19.75. There we go. Oh my God, we're awful. Don't learn math from us. Okay, you can learn music. Quick Lessons Pro guitar course that's more for intermediates. But Beato Book Interactive, that's my theory course. Lectures, and anything you want to know about theory, it's in there. Chord progressions, how to build chords, how to name intervals, all that kind of stuff. Ear training course. That's what we're doing today. We're doing ear training. You can learn all the ear training, get an incredibly good ear from this, and my Arpeggio Masterclass to be able to learn how to play these chords on your instrument, and that'll really teach you the fretboard. Anyways, listen, for those of you here in the U.S., hope you have a great 4th of July, or Independence Day as we call it. And you guys are amazing. I was in Austin, Texas this week. And it was fun. But man, was it hot. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Take care.